Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Muhammad Hasan. I'm an engineer currently pursuing my master's in the field of microwave engineering. Have you ever thought of creating a good habit or break a bad one so that you can have a happy, productive and successful life? And we think that in order to build a good habit, we need to do some crazy big thing or take some huge leap in our day-to-day life so that our good habits can take us to our destination, that is success, and only then we can be happy. In my previous video, I've talked about the concept of motivation and I've derived that concept from the book named The Motivation Myth written by Jeff Haden. And I've discussed how the misconception about motivation is actually stopping you from achieving your goal or reaching your destination. If you haven't checked that video, then I'll request you to check that video after going through this video, and I hope that that video will add a ton of value to your life. I'll leave a link in the upper right corner and also leave a link in the description below. In this video, I'll be talking about the concept of how to build good habit or break a bad one, and the concept I'll be talking about is derived from a book named Atomic Habits written by James Clear. It's a must-read book, especially if you're a student. The first thing that he talks about in this book is the surprising power of atomic habits. The first thing that you need to understand is that what does the author means by saying atomic habits. We know in order to build habit, we need to do small tasks on a regular basis without a failure. These small tasks are termed as atomic habit. We know that atoms are the fundamental unit of a block. Similarly, these small tasks are the fundamental unit of habit. And if you can do those small tasks for a prolonged period of time without a failure, then these small tasks can produce results that can be huge and amazing. This is what the book calls the surprising power of atomic habits. James says in his book that it's easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action, whether it's losing weight, building a business, writing a book, winning a championship, or achieving any other goal. We put pressure on ourselves to make some earth-shattering improvements that people will talk about. The book emphasizes that achieving a small task or doing a small task for a prolonged period of time is very important. Therefore, he says that improving by 1% every day isn't particularly notable, or sometimes it's not even noticeable, but it can be far more meaningful in the long run. The difference a tiny improvement can make over a long time is just astounding. Here's how the math works. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you are done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse for 1 year, you will decline nearly down to zero. What starts with such a small win or a small setback can accumulate into something very big. James says in his book that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement, the same way that money multiplies through compound interest. The effect of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little or no difference on a given day, yet the impact that they can have over months or years can be astounding or enormous. It's only when you look back 2 years, 3 years, or perhaps 5 years later that the value of that good habit or the cost of that bad one becomes strikingly apparent. Once you start doing these small tasks on a regular basis without a failure, the thing that you need to understand so that you can keep on doing these smaller tasks without a failure is the concept of progress. You need to understand how progress really works when you're building new habits. So the next thing that this book talks about is what progress is really like. In order to understand progress, let me give you an example. Imagine that you have an ice cube sitting in front of you on a table in a room that is around 25 degrees centigrade. So it's a cold room and the temperature of the room is slightly and slowly increased. So the temperature of the room becomes from 25 degrees centigrade to 26 degree, and from 26 degree to 27 degree, and slowly from 27 degree to 28 degree, but the ice cube still remains the ice cube without any change. Then the temperature becomes from 28 to 29, and from 29 to 30, and from 30 to 31, and still the ice cube remains the same ice cube without any change. And when the temperature changed from 31 degree to 32 degree, we can see the ice melt. It's the same 1 degree change that was happening earlier, but this 1 degree change that is from 31 to 32 degree unlocked a huge change. This is how progress works when you're building habits. Now the next concept that this book talks about is to understand the concept of breakthrough moment. Breakthrough moments are often the results of many previous actions that builds up potential required to unleash the major change. This pattern shows up everywhere. Bamboo trees can barely be seen in the first 5 years when they're busy just building underground network of roots before shooting 6 feet into the air within 6 weeks. Similarly, habit often appears to make no difference until and unless you cross a certain threshold and unlock a new level of performance. In the early and the middle stages of any quest, there is always a valley of disappointment. You expect to make progress in a linear fashion, but the actual progress is always like this. And it's frustrating how ineffective changes can seem during the first days, weeks, and even months. It doesn't feel like you're going anywhere. It's a hallmark of any compounding process. The most powerful outcomes are always delayed. This is one of the core reasons why it's very hard to develop habits that last. People make few small changes and they fail to see tangible results and they quit. But in order to make a meaningful difference, your habits should persist long enough so that it can break through this plateau, which the author calls the plateau of latent potential. If you are struggling to build a new habit or break a bad one, this doesn't actually mean that you have lost the ability to improve. It is often because you haven't yet crossed the plateau of latent potential. Complaining about not achieving success despite of hard work is like that ice cube not melting when you're increasing the temperature from 25 degrees to 31 degrees. The work that you're doing is not actually wasted, it's building a potential and it will eventually show result. All the actions happens at 32 degrees when it crosses the valley of disappointment or it crosses that threshold or the breakthrough point. Till then, you need to hold on because the work you're doing is actually building a potential. Now the next question is how to stick to our small task and survive this valley of disappointment or the plateau of latent potential. The book answers this in a beautiful way by saying that forget about goals, focus on system instead. Now the concept of forgetting your goal and focusing on the system has been explained in my previous video, The Motivation Myth, so I'll go through this part a bit quicker. What's the difference between a goal and a system? The goal is the result that you want to achieve and the system is the process that will take you to those goals. Now my question is, if you forget about your goal and just focus strictly on your day-to-day processes, will you still succeed? For example, if you are a coach of a basketball team and you completely ignore the goal of winning the championship and you just focus on your team's day-to-day practice and focus and work towards improving the system and the process, will you still reach your goal? I think you would. If you just follow the daily small processes strictly, then the score will take care of itself. So whether you'll be able to achieve your goal or not solely depends on the process and the system that you are actually following. The book says that you do not rise to the level of your goal, you fall to the level of your system. Oh, what a statement to sum up this concept. Now my question is, why is it so easy to repeat bad habits and so difficult to build a good one? Now, changing our habit is challenging because of basically two reasons. Number one, we try to change the wrong thing, and number two, we try to change the habit in the wrong way. Let's see how we can solve the first problem. James says in his book that there are 3 layers of behavior change. The first layer is changing your outcomes. This level is concerned with changing your result. For example, losing your weight, publishing a book, winning a championship, all those things. So outcomes are what you get. The second layer is changing your process. This level is concerned with changing your habits and systems. For example, implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering your desk for better workflow, developing a meditation practice. So processes are what you do. The third and the deepest layer is changing your identity. This layer is concerned with changing your beliefs. So identity is what you believe. Most people begin the process of building habit by focusing on what they want to achieve. This kind of habit formation is known as outcome-based habit formation. The alternative is to build identity-based habit. With this approach, we start by focusing on what we wish to become. Let me explain this by giving an example. Let's take my YouTube channel as the example. Now, in order to run a successful YouTube channel, you need to upload regular videos, and what I actually do is to try to upload at least one video every week. So I need to build a habit to create videos every week. Otherwise, I won't be successful in achieving my goal. Now, there are 2 ways of building habit. The first one is outcome-based building habit. If I follow this habit formation, then what will I actually do? I'll just set a goal. For example, I need to reach 10,000 subscribers or 50,000 subscribers. So that's my goal, and I will keep on uploading video, keeping that goal in mind. And we know that when we start anything, then our growth is always very small and it's very slow. So if I'm building habit based on this system, then since my growth is slow in the initial states, I'll be comparing my growth with my final result, which is very much demotivating. And by the time I'll I'll be building the habit, I will eventually quit. And following this system to build a habit becomes very difficult, and most of the time we'll be quitting in the midway. Now the second way of building habit is identity-based habit formation. Now if I follow this process, then once I set a goal of suppose 10,000 or 50,000 subscriber, I'll just forget about the goal and change my belief system from inside. I'll think to myself that since I am a YouTuber, I need to upload videos every week. If I fail to upload videos every week, that means I'm not a YouTuber. But I actually want myself to be called as a YouTuber. So if I want myself to be a YouTuber, then I need to upload videos. So this belief that's inside me will actually push me to create videos, because if I fail, then I'm not a YouTuber. So this is the system that the book talks about. If I can change the belief system that's within me, then that belief system will actually push me to create what I want to create and will help me to build my habit in that process, because I'm not focusing on the goal. Therefore, the chances of demotivation will be very less, as I've explained in my previous video. So this is what the two types of habit formation process that this book talks about. That is the outcome-based habit formation, another is identity-based habit formation. Once you've understood that it is the identity-based habit formation that is actually useful and will help us to grow our habits successfully. Now the next thing that this book talks about is how to build habits. The process of building habit can be divided into 4 simple steps. Number 1, cue. Number 2, craving. Number 3, response. And number 4, reward. These 4 things form a cycle in the given order. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior, so the cue is about noticing the reward. The craving is about wanting the reward. The response is about doing the work which will grant you reward. I'll give you an example that will help you understand this concept. For example, you smell a donut as you walk down the road near your office. So that smell of donut is actually the cue or the signal. Once you got your cue, it will take you to your next target, that is craving. Now you start craving to have a donut. Once you have your craving, it will take you to your next thing, that is response. So your response is you bought the donut and ate it. Once you completed the response, it will give you reward. That's our fourth target. You satisfy your craving by eating donut and see how the habit is actually formed. Now buying a donut becomes associated with walking down the street near your office. This is how actually habit is formed. And these 4 things, cue, craving, response and reward, leads to what James called in his book the 4 laws of behavior change. The first law is make it obvious. It relates to designing our environment around our cues. The example that I can give you is that recently I have started journaling every morning, but there are some days where I forget writing in the morning. So what I have done is that I have designed my environment in such a way so that it becomes obvious. What I actually do is that every night before going to sleep, I keep my journal diary over my keyboard, so that the next day when I wake up and switch on my computer, which is the first thing I actually do when I wake up, I'll have my journal diary in front of me, which will make it obvious and hence making journaling much more easier. This is actually what the first law, make it obvious, actually means. The thing about environment design is that you need to put fewer steps between you and the good habit and more number of steps between you and the bad habit. The next law is make it attractive. We know that human beings are created in such a way that they get pulled toward things that looks attractive. The example that I can give you is that I recently started reading different kind of book in order to increase my productivity level, because we know the more we go through books, the more knowledge we have, and gaining knowledge is fun. So whenever I read book, I try to spice up the environment of my room by using different colors of RGB lights, which actually makes the environment a bit comfy and romantic and makes my book reading experience a funful and enjoyable experience. The next law is make it easy. The example here that I can give you is that shooting videos for my YouTube channel. Initially when I started this video, then shooting videos was a bit of hassle for me, because I need to set up this microphone and the lightings, the camera, the stands and all those things. So the process of recording these videos was a bit of pain for me, as a result of which the frequency at which I used to create videos was very less. So what I've done is, in order to make this process easy, I've kept the setup as it is and I do not change the position of my setup. So whenever I feel to shoot videos, what I need to do is just switch on my camera and hit the record button, and boom, I'm on my way to record my video without any hassle. So making the process easy actually helps to repeat the process on a regular basis, which is very important while building habits. The more number of repetition you can create, the better you will be in that thing. The fourth and the final law is to make the process satisfying. The book says that what is immediately rewarded is repeated and what is immediately punished is always avoided. In order to make my small daily task more satisfying, what I actually do, I keep a reward system in order to satisfy myself. What I actually say myself is that if I can complete this task, then I can give myself 1 hour where I can go and chill out with friends and play some TT with them. TT means table tennis. Or sometimes I say to myself that if I can complete my goal today, then I will allow myself 1 hour to play video games on my computer, playing some FIFA games. So these are the ways by which I keep my reward system working, which actually satisfies me to complete my goal. So these are the things that this book talks about in order to build good habits. There are much more things that this book talks about with various examples, which is very difficult to cover each and everything in this small video. I covered only those parts that are very important, and I explained the book in a nutshell so that it's easy for you when you read this book. I'll again say that this is a must-read book for students or people who are looking to build habits and break bad ones. Yeah, this is all for this video. If you enjoyed this video and if you feel that this video added some kind of value to your life, then please hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, then please consider doing so, and I will catch you all in my next video. Till then, bye bye.